You're holding a spoon, and somehow what's on that spoon exists because humans figured out how to make ice colder than normal. That shouldn't make sense. Ice is supposed to freeze things. So how did humans, centuries ago, with no electricity, no machines, no freezers, manage to create something this smooth? Because ice cream isn't just frozen milk. If it were, it would feel like a brick, hard, crunchy, full of ice chunks. Instead, it's soft, creamy, almost impossible feeling. And the reason that's possible comes from a strange chemical loophole people discovered by accident. A trick so weird that humans spent centuries obsessing over it. Because what ice cream really is temperature being manipulated. And to understand how we started bending the rules of cold itself, we have to go back to a time when ice was treated like treasure. Long before freezers, cold was a luxury. In places like ancient China and Persia, people collected ice during winter, then buried it underground, inside insulated chambers, designed to stop it from melting. Not for days, for months, because in a world without refrigeration, cold felt almost magical. And eventually, someone wondered something strange. What if you could turn cold itself into food? So people mixed snow and ice with fruit juice, honey, sometimes milk. The first frozen desserts had arrived. But there was a problem. A normal mix of ice and water can only get so cold, which meant these early versions weren't smooth at all. They were icy, crunchy, more like flavored snow than real ice cream. And for centuries, nobody could figure it out until people discovered something strange. If you added salt to ice, the ice started melting faster, which sounds useless. But the moment salt touches ice, the temperature starts dropping because salt lets water get colder before it freezes. So while the ice melts, it starts stealing heat from everything around it, the cream included. And suddenly, the mixture becomes colder than normal ice. Cold enough to freeze cream smoothly. There's actually a name for this, freezing point depression. And this was the breakthrough that made real ice cream possible. Without it, you don't get soft ice cream. You get frozen chunks. And honestly, that weird chemical trick is still being used today. Quick side note, if you're into cooking gadgets or homemade desserts, I linked a few cool ice cream gadgets below if you want to take a look. Because once people figured out how to create this extreme cold, everything changed. By the 1600s, recipes across Europe started describing how to freeze sweetened cream using salt and ice. But freezing it wasn't enough, because if the mixture sat still, large ice crystals would form inside it, and that ruined the texture. So people discovered they had to keep it moving while it froze, constantly, which meant churning it by hand, over and over and over again. For a long time, ice cream wasn't really a dessert. It was a process, a slow, repetitive, almost obsessive process, which is part of why it became a status symbol. Only wealthy households had the time, the labor, and access to the ice needed to make it properly. But once people tasted it, there was no going back, because nothing else felt like it. Think about it. Ice cream is cold, but soft, solid, but smooth, rich, but refreshing. It completely breaks the rules your brain expects. Frozen things are supposed to be hard. Creamy things are supposed to be warm. Ice cream somehow became both at the exact same time. And that contradiction is exactly what made people obsessed with it. Then, in 1843, a woman named Nancy Johnson patented a hand-cranked ice cream machine. And even though it sounds simple, it was revolutionary. Instead of manually stirring cream, her machine used a rotating paddle inside a container surrounded by salted ice, which made the freezing process faster, smoother, and more consistent. For the first time, making real ice cream was repeatable, and that helped transform it from a luxury food into something ordinary people could finally make at home. But even with better machines, the science never changed, because every scoop still depends on a fragile balancing act, too many ice crystals, and it turns crunchy, too little air, and it becomes dense, too much freezing, and it turns solid, because inside every scoop, fat, sugar, air, and microscopic ice crystals all have to work together at the exact same time. Sugar lowers the freezing point, helping keep ice cream soft. Air trapped during churning makes it lighter and easier to scoop, and the fat from cream helps stop large crystals from forming. Everything has a job, which means ice cream is basically chemistry disguised as dessert. And somehow, people learned how to control this centuries before they fully understood the science behind it, which makes the whole thing feel even stranger. Because the next time you eat ice cream, you're not just tasting dessert, you're tasting one of the oldest scientific tricks humans ever discovered. A weird loophole built from salt, ice, motion, and temperature itself. And somehow, even after all these centuries, it still feels a little bit like magic. Now, if you enjoyed this, tap like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what food should I break down next?